millionaire mind. I'm building your millionaire mind. If every day you had 90 minutes of that stuff, I guarantee you would skyrocket to success at a much faster rate. So, anyways, do we have any markers here? No.
I will get some.
Oh, thank you. Very good. Very good. All right, so what time does everybody have? 8:30.
Start.
8:30. Okay, as soon as Jason gets back, we're going to get started. 8:29? All right. So, you know, while we're getting started. One more minute? All right.
When Jason's back.
When Jason gets back, exactly. All right, just need one marker or something. Yeah. I'm very excited about this morning. You know, I'm one of these people that I probably read 4 or 5 books at a time all the time. Anybody know people like that? Are any of you guys like that? Will you read? You know what? Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And so I'm constantly reading. And some of the stuff is new stuff, and a lot of it is, I have a library at home where I can look and say, wow, I haven't read that book in years. Man, I can't wait to read it again. Because what's changed? Has the book changed?
No, you have.
But I've changed, right?
Yeah.
I've changed, right? And to me, the thing about everything I teach you guys is about you changing. You changing in a very, very, very particular way. In an intentional way. It's not an accident. It's an intention, right? All right, so it's 8:30, whatever. We're certainly ready to get started. We'll leave the door open a crack. I don't want to disturb Eric and the other people in the meantime. So we'll leave this. Wait a minute. Is it unlocked on the other side? Yeah, we should be able to close it. Okay. All right. So let's begin with this. If you guys have cell phones, please, you know what to do with them, right? We know exactly what to do with them. Just turn them off for the time being. We don't need that. So let me ask you guys a question. Right. How many of you guys are here to learn? How many of you guys are here to learn? Very good. How many of you guys are here to grow this morning? Okay, very good. And how many of you guys want to do a whole lot of both? All right, thank you very much. All right. I know I do, right? I constantly, that's one thing, if you've known me for any amount of time whatsoever, you've known that I'm a person that is addicted to learning and growing and most importantly doing. Yes, and the key word is doing. That by far. And that's what's so great about what we're going to be talking about this morning, because the word is results. What is the word?
Results.
What's the word, please?
Results.
What's the word?
Results.
Okay, one more time, twice as loud.
Results.
It's about results. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, and say, today is all about results.
Today is all about results.
Today.
Right. So what is today all about?
Results.
It's about results. It's not about a bunch of hot air. It's not about learning and talking about and thinking about and pontificating about. It's about frickin' what?
Results.
It's about what?
Results.
Okay, how many of you guys want better results in your life? Okay, who's responsible for creating those results in your life?
I am.
You are. And one of the best ways that you can make certain that you create those results is that you develop the right habits. What's the word?
Habits.
The right habits, right? If you develop the right habits, more than likely you're going to get the right results, right?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the best possible habits that you can get into is the habit of showing up. What's the 2 words?
Showing up.
Yeah, 80% of all success is what?
Showing up.
Okay, and is that a great habit to have? Raise your hand if you think it's to show up, right? Okay, so I want you to reach around, pat both your neighbors on the back and say congratulations for showing up.
Congratulations for showing up.
Congratulations
for showing up.
Okay. All right, so that's maybe the blue one works a little bit better.
Blue's a little better, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, today we are going to be focused on this word. Results. What's the word again?
Results.
Results. Raise your hand if you want better results in your life. Okay, very, very good. So, for me, I think it's critical that you guys really focus. What's the word?
Focus.
Focus. For the next 90 minutes or whatever time we have together on whatever is going on. So one of the rules is no sidebar conversations. Can everybody agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay? All right, very good. And then, of course, you guys know that if you need to use the restrooms, just excuse yourself. It's right down the hall. You guys know where it's all at, right?
Yes.
Okay, so.
No, I don't.
Okay, so again, I always like to start by giving you guys a few reminders. And the first one is, don't believe a word I
Say.
And why do I say that?
Based on your opinion.
Because it's what?
Your opinion.
It's just my opinion, right? It's just my experience, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened. I can tell you what my experience has been, right? But whose experience is important here?
Mine.
Yeah, your experience is important here, right? So all I can tell you for sure, my belief system. Whose belief system?
Mine.
My belief system. Jeff's belief system. Jeff's belief system is that if you learn, what's the word?
Learn.
The principles and the ideas that we talk about every single week, but more importantly, if you actually try them on out in your own life, actually try these principles and ideas out. Don't just think about them, don't just talk about them, actually do. What's the word?
Do.
Do them. Then I'm convinced beyond any shadow of a doubt that in the next 3 years, all of your life will be totally 100% completely transformed. Raise your hand if you believe that's true. Right? So how many of you guys are willing to be open? What's the word?
Open.
Yeah, for the 90 minutes that we're here together. And I want you to be thinking about these ideas and thinking about how can I actually do these things in my life? Right? How can I actually do this stuff in my life so that I get better results? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So very good. So, so that's why I want everybody to be open. Everybody willing to be open 100%?
Yes.
Is there anybody who isn't willing to be open 100%? Okay, very good. So rule number 2 is, since we're spending our precious time together, how many of you guys want to learn faster? And how many of you guys want to remember more of what you learn? And research indicates that the key to that is what?
Participation.
What's the word, please?
Participation.
Yeah, absolutely. Participation, you bet. Right. You guys notice I ask a lot of questions. True?
True.
Okay. Are questions important?
Yes.
Yeah. Why are questions important?
Because they hook the mind.
What do they do, Vince?
They hook the mind.
Everybody together. What do questions do?
They hook the mind.
Is that true or true?
True.
It absolutely is. I guarantee you. You want to create instant rapport with people. You want to develop great relationships with people. You want to have more customers that listen to what you have to say. You want to do more business with more people. Raise your hand if you want all that. You become a master at asking
Questions.
That's one of the secrets, you guys. When you become a master at asking questions, you will be amazed at how your life will be transformed. You guys hear me say this all the time, but I don't think you guys appreciate it at the level I'm trying to communicate this to you. At a much deeper level, if your goal, raise your goal is, one of your goals is to become successful. Okay, for you to become successful financially means you're going to have to get money. True or true?
True.
Where does money come from?
All kinds of places.
Where does it come from?
Results.
Where does it come from? Where does money come from?
Action.
No, money comes from where?
People.
People! Where does money come from?
People.
People. If you want more money, you need to serve more.
People.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
The money doesn't come from, maybe it comes from God, but it's got to come through people, right?
Right.
Where else is money going to come from? Money comes from people, you guys. Right, turn to your neighbors, give them a high five and say, money comes from people.
Money
Money comes from people.
Right?
Ready? Money comes from
Money comes from people. Okay, so, I got to tell you guys something. Yes, yesterday I was blessed. What's the word?
Blessed.
That I had a little bit of free time and I'm surfing Facebook to see who's doing what. And Harv, there's a thing up there with Harv, and he says, I did this interview on Radio Free America just a day or so ago. Check it out. So I'm always curious to hear what Harv has to say. It's a 1-hour radio show on RadioAmerica.com or whatever it is. I'm not sure exactly. And the lady who is doing it, it's her show, and she is a kind of a clinical psychologist. And what she does is her big thing is she works with people who consistently have weight problems. Anybody know those kind of people?
No.
And so she's a psychologist, and her practice, when she's not doing radio shows, her practice is she's you know, whereas Harv is trying to overcome people's obstacles when it comes to money, her clients, she's trying to get them to overcome the obstacles when it comes to their weight and everything related to that, right? So she brings him on, and I said, I'm gonna listen to this, right? And it's a 1-hour radio show. So for me to invest an hour, for me, that's a valuable hour. My time is precious. Raise your hand if you believe your time is precious. You know, we have choices. There's only so many hours in a day. To invest one of my waking hours in this, I said, okay, you know, it's worth it for me to invest this hour because I want to see exactly how Harv responds to every single question. Now, do you think he's been in the business now for over 20 years? He's done hundreds of these radio shows. Do you think at this point Harv has become a master at doing a radio interview show?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes.
Okay, so that was my intention. I said, if I'm going to invest this hour, I'm going to invest this hour, and I'm not just going to listen to what Harv says. I'm going to see exactly what he says, how he says it. I'm really going to study. What's the word?
Study.
Yeah, I'm not just listening to this just because chances are I pretty much know everything Harv's going to say because I've already heard him say it 1,000,000 times. And that's a secret for you guys. He just learned a whole bunch of information once, and now it goes all over the world and just repeats it over and 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 over again, and teaches other people to do it for him, and has made a fortune from it. Isn't that amazing? So anyways, so I'm listening to this thing, and clearly the lady who's doing the host of the show has never heard of Harv before. You know, she's never, because she's reading his biography or his intro, and she's kind of butchering it, and she's never, you know, but she you know, but she had someone had given her some crypt notes on his book. Right? So she had some crypt notes on his book, but she clearly didn't know Harv. So here's Harv coming on to her radio show. Basically, he's a total stranger. Okay, now, did you know that there are books out there? I study them all the time. How to persuade anybody in 90 seconds. How to get anybody to say yes in 8 minutes or less. I studied this stuff. You know, did you know how many things are going on in your subconscious or unconscious mind below the surface? From the second you meet a person to the first 90 seconds, that they're going to form certain opinions about who you are, what your energy is, what you're all about, whether or not they want to be friends with you or they could care less about you. All that stuff happens in the first 90 seconds. Did you know that? Now, if you knew that, and you said, well, my goal is to serve people, then don't you want to intentionally create that energy in those first 90 seconds so that that person wants to be involved with you, or at least is open to you, that they feel a positive energy from you. There's something about you, maybe they can't consciously nail it, but there's something about you that says, in fight or flight, they're saying, okay, I can drop my guard a little bit. I think this person's okay. Right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, can you guys master, what's the word?
Master.
Master the first 90 seconds of any communication with someone? Yeah. You know what? You know what? One of the things I'm thinking about doing is doing a 2-hour workshop where we just role play. Because I guarantee you, after 2 hours of role playing, you could go out there and do it with anybody. You just don't role play enough. How many of you raise your hand if you do a lot of role playing right now? A lot of role playing. Most of you don't. How do you think you build up your skills in anything? Practice, practice, practice. You know, I'm going to tell you something. When Robert Kiyosaki, raise your hand if you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki. Before Robert Kiyosaki was big, he and Blair Singer, and I'm trying to remember two or three other big name gurus today, when they were all nothing, they used to get together at Robert Kiyosaki's home every Saturday from 9 o'clock till noon. And each one of them would stand up there and do their pitch, and everybody else would critique the crap out of them. And everybody would have their turn getting critiqued like crazy. But they did that week after week. Now, how many people do you know who do that? And look what happened to Robert Kiyosaki. Because he practiced. Look what happened to Blair Singer. Because he
Practice.
How many of you guys practice? Huh? You know what? I'm telling you, if you practice the right things, like showing up, good things are going to start happening in your life. You're going to start getting this right here. What's the word?
Results.
Yeah. So anyways, so very quickly, so she said that during this radio interview, a couple of transformations happened for me. One of them, she said, was, Harv, I have so many patients, and they try one diet and it fails, so guess what they do next?
Find out about it.
Yeah, and then it fails, and guess what they do next?
Another.
And then it fails. And she says, how do you get people to become millionaires? How do you do that? She says, do most of your students become millionaires? What do you think Harv said? No, I wish. She said, well, what do you think separates your students? Because Harv now has worldwide over 1 million. 1 million. You guys want to talk about it? Was it like this? 1 million? $1 million. You guys want to talk about it? Austin Powers? Yeah, $1 million, right? Forget it. But he has over 1 million students worldwide now. Now, how many of those 1 million students are millionaires or well on their way to becoming millionaires?
100,000.
All of them, 2%.
100,000.
Don't we wish, right? And she's and it's true. Harvard said, I have taught 1 million people the secrets to success, but I don't have over 1 million people that are successful. Do the math. A few are. And she says, I have the same problem with my weight loss clients. He says, what? She says, of the people that you have taught that have gone on to become millionaires, what's the difference? What's the difference?
They stuck with
Would you like to know what Harv said? Would you?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you'd like to know what Harv said. All right, very good. So he said, you know what? He said, what it really comes down to is he says, until you reach that stage in your emotions where you gotta, like your back's against the wall, you don't have any other choice but to do it, chances are your old programming will overtake you every time. So she said, well, give me an example. He said, well, let's talk about health. He says, suppose you just had a major heart attack. You guys, now imagine, every single one of you just had a major heart attack. And Harv said, in his answer, he says, you have to understand, I made my first fortune in the fitness business, the home fitness business. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Right? He said, suppose you just had a major heart attack. And the doctor is visiting with you just a little bit afterwards, and he says, if you don't change what you eat, and I'll show you exactly what you need to eat. If you don't change your sleeping habits, and I'll show you exactly what your sleeping habits need to be. If you don't change your working habits, and I'll show you what your working habits need to be. If you don't change your exercise habits, and I'll tell you what they need to be. If you don't change your lifestyle habits, some of those other nasty habits of yours, if you don't change, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do, you're gonna die.
That's a big motivator.
Okay? You are going to die. And the first thing you need to do is you need to exercise for 60 minutes every day. Now, if you just went to your doctor and he said, you need to exercise for 60 minutes every day, is that big? Or you're gonna die. Does that change your priorities in life?
Yes.
No, where's the fitness?
No?
I won't.
No?
The ones that doesn't, they die.
For 98% of the people, it doesn't.
For 98% of the people, it doesn't.
Wow.
If that won't, nothing will. You're beyond hope. Raise your hand if you believe you're beyond hope. Raise your hand if you believe you're beyond hope. You are so far down the path of wherever you're at right now, you can't ever get out of that rut. You are stuck there. Raise your hand if you believe you're stuck where you are. You can't ever get any higher. Raise your hand. No. So,
I have found something.
yeah.
The reason why is, in essence, what you're saying. Your why has to be big enough. Oftentimes, for oneself, the reason is never enough. But if you put somebody else into the picture, now,
Yep.
if you say you'll die and your kids will be alone. If you die and your grandchildren will
Sure.
grow up not knowing you. True. Now it becomes a whole different, significantly different results.
Very good. How many agree with that? Yeah, I think that well said. Absolutely. So what Harv said though is you basically have to reach, for most people they have to reach a threshold of pain, especially when it comes to weight loss, a threshold of pain where they say that's it. Let's talk about the process of manifestation. Raise your hand if you know it. We talk about it every week. Who can tell me the process of manifestation? Your
Thoughts.
thoughts lead to your, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results. Okay, so where do our thoughts come from?
Programming.
Our programming. And I gotta tell you guys something, you know, I always talk about, how many of you guys understand when I say our programming, what we're talking about? Right? You know, especially when we were younger. Right? Especially when we were younger. When we were younger, we were innocent young kids. True or true? Right? Did we know better or we just didn't know, period? We just didn't know, didn't we? Isn't that true? Right? Whatever BS crap we were fed, we took it hook, line, and sinker. True or true? True. Is that true for just some people or everybody?
Everybody.
I don't care how smart, how successful you are, all of us took all in all this stuff. Now, maybe we were lucky enough, I just want to keep an eye on my time here, because we definitely want to get into our well thought. Maybe we were lucky enough that we were brought up in an environment that was very supportive and very conducive. But we know that for 98% of most situations, what was the kind of environment we were brought up in? In fact, for 100% of us, because are we influenced by everything going on in the outside world?
Yes.
Yeah, even as little kids, isn't it true we're influenced by everything going on outside in the outside world? Of which we only have a certain amount of control over what's going into those little kids' minds, right? Right? And so, if a little kid's over at somebody else's house and the parents are talking and the parents have a very strong political point of view, and the parents express that political point of view, and the young kid doesn't have a political point of view at that time, he might be inclined to take that political point of view or whatever his parents' political point of view is, right?
Yes.
Did you choose from your own free will to have your primary language as English? Did you choose that? No, you didn't. Did you choose the religion that you were raised in? No. All these things were handed to you. It was assumed, right? And one of the books that I just finished reading, it's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. How many of you guys have read this book? I highly encourage it. Doesn't take very...
read it again Friday mornings. Paradise Bakery, 8:30, Desert Ridge. We're reading it right now.
So on a very spiritual, on a much more spiritual level, what he talks about is exactly what we're talking about right now. Right now. He's just talking about it more on a spiritual level, but when you read it and you understand it, and you realize that you actually all of us, I said this morning I want everybody to bring their warrior mentality, right? How many of you know what a warrior mentality is? Right? No wimps here this morning, right? No wimps. No wimps.
I was close, let me tell you.
No wimps here this morning. Raise your hand if you refuse to be a wimp. Turn to both your neighbors, say, I refuse to be a wimp.
No wimps. I refuse to be a wimp.
No wimps, right?
I refuse to be a wimp.
Okay, guys, back here. Look, if you're lucky enough, and I mean this very sincerely, if you're lucky enough to ever get to the Peak Potentials Enlightened Warrior Training Camp, it's 5 days. And while you're going through it, it's kind of like being in a military boot camp. Like your brain keeps saying, oh my God, what are they going to put me through next? I'm serious. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that? Where you're that little voice inside your head and, oh man. No, I mean, suppose I said to you, okay, so in a half an hour, we're going to put all you guys in a bus, so a school bus, and we're going to be going to this bridge that's about 3 miles from here, and we're going to attach a bungee cord for you jumping off of it.
I'm scared. No way.
Me too.
Yeah? Now, suppose I tell you now in half an hour, it's the evening time, we've had this 20 yards of hot wooden coals burning, and you're going to walk across them.
That's okay.
Is that okay? Okay? Or you're gonna climb to the top of that 20-foot telephone pole, and then you're gonna stand right on top of it. You're gonna do that?
I did that.
Right?
You did that?
So
PSI.
Yeah.
the point of all of this, of course, is that you have to learn to hear that little voice, and that little voice starts saying, no way, don't do that, you're crazy, you're gonna die, no, right?
Thank you for sharing.
What was it?
Thank you for sharing.
What was it?
Thank you for sharing.
Face the fear and take the action. Because you know what, that little voice that you've been listening to all your life, it's not your friend. It's your conditioned mind. It's what the universe said you were supposed to be, not what you said you were supposed to be. It's not who you are. It's not. It's your mother's voice. It's your teacher's voice. It's your friend's voice. It's not your voice. You've just bought all these other voices and now you're listening to it. It's not. Do all those people that you took advice from, are they all getting the results you want in life?
No.
Which means that all the frickin', what's the word? That you have got through most of your life is crap. Some of it is good. But when it comes to wealth, what's the word?
Well,
The word is crap. All right? And I'm not about real estate or investments or marketing or sales or any of that stuff. I'm about this word right here. What's the word?
Mind.
Because it begins and ends right where?
In your mind. Millionaire mind.
We'll get to that in just a second. See, you beat me to the punch! Right. So first of all, you guys have to understand that all of your success, what's the word? And all of your
Results.
begin with your mind. Did you? Now when you were, no, you have no choice. Raise your hand if you consider yourself an adult now. Some of the time anyway, right? Okay. Hopefully. It's okay, and by the way, it's good to be a kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, kids have a lot more fun than adults do. Raise your hand if that's true. Right? So I'm not saying that you got to keep the kid inside of you alive if you want to have fun. True or true?
True.
But if you want the kind of results you want, you have to be responsible too. True or true? You got to do both. There has to be a balance. What's the word?
Balance.
Yeah, there's got to be a balance. So So what we want to do is we want to change your programming so that you get the kind of results you want. True or true?
True.
Okay. So I'm listening to Harv, and Harv says she says, do you think it's possible in this day and age for just about anybody to become rich? And he said, he said, well, I don't think it's possible maybe for anybody in Nairobi or a third world country where they're barely surviving. But I think in North America or Europe or Australia or a lot of the places in Asia that I go to, yeah, I totally 100% believe from the bottom of my heart that anybody, who?
Anybody.
In 3 to 5 years. He says, what my experience has been is it takes generally, what's the word?
Generally.
Not always, but generally. The people who make it, they got to work at it for how long?
3 to
5 years.
And if they do, they make it. And if you quit after 2.5 years, you know what?
You don't
You
make
won't make it.
Or 2 3/4 years?
You
Won't
don't
make
make
it.
Yeah, it's like 3 feet from
The
goal. You gotta put in the
Time.
So she says to him, well, what motivated you? What motivated you to become a millionaire? And he says, it's funny. He says, I quit college after my first year. And that's true. He was going to York University in Toronto. He said, I quit college after my first year because I knew it just wasn't for me. And my parents practically disowned me. But he said, my parents believed that they worked so hard and they saw me either as a doctor or a lawyer. And I'm telling them I don't want to go to school anymore, I just want to go into business for myself. And they were so upset with him that they practically disowned him. And so his motivation to become a millionaire was to prove to his parents that he could be successful in business and be a good person and be successful in business. And that was his motivation, because his parents says, you'll be a bum. You won't ever make anything out of yourself. What kind of businesses that you're talking about here? This is, they're from the old school. So he was motivated to prove to his parents that he could be successful in business. And he said, and he said, when I think about it, my parents came over from Europe and they had like $30. That's it. He said, and the rest of the family, and they were Jewish. And this is World War II time. And so what he was saying is that the Jews who had money in Europe were able to flee Europe and come to America. And the Jews who didn't have enough money, do you know what happened to them? There was a word for what happened to them. You know what the word is? It's called the Holocaust. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Holocaust. And so Harv's upbringing, and to a certain extent mine too, I come from, we're born the same year, we're both Jewish. But he had family that died in the Holocaust. Money to him was literally the difference between survival or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The people who had money survived. The people who didn't. Yes.
But it seems like that his parents bought the programming. Work hard, go to college, get a good education. And
They
I'm
did.
sure they didn't have that.
They
But
did.
they made it anyway.
They made it anyway. You're absolutely right. No question about it. But they bought that
They bought
program.
the lie.
They bought the lie. We're going to talk about that as soon as we get into it, because that's the first lie that society brings on all of us, right? How many of you were raised to believe that you're supposed to go to school, right? Get good grades, right? Go on to university and get more education, right? And after that, if you can afford it, and you're smart enough, go on and you can get like a graduate degree after that, right? right? And so you have lots of degrees and lots of education behind you, and now you go work for a big company, right? And you move up the ladder in that big company, and you make a lot of money, and you retire at age 55 with a nice pension and stock options and all that kind of stuff, right? How many, or at least something along those lines, how many were raised to believe that that's kind of like the career path we're supposed to be on?
Oh, now it's 73.
Yeah, 70.
Sorry, what's that?
Now it's 73.
Now it's 73.
55, man, that would have been nice.
Yeah. So so anyway, so but what was amazing throughout this entire thing is Harv was able to answer the questions in such a way that you could see after the first 20 minutes how he had already sold her. So she began helping him because they spent the next 40 minutes selling the Millionaire Mind Intensive.
What is the price?
Now, was that brilliant promoting or what?
Yes.
She was doing everything she could. She loved every answer. It totally resonated with her. She had personally signed up to go to the next Millionaire Mind Intensive in Denver. Okay. So he was able to win her over so that the majority of the show was spent selling the
Book,
and the
intensive.
And knowing Harv, he signed up as an ambassador and gave her his ambassador link.
Now let me ask you guys something. How much do you think it would cost you to do a 1-hour commercial for your program? How much do you think it would cost you to do a 1-hour commercial for your program?
Doesn't have to cost anything.
How much would it cost for you to promote for 1 hour your program? On TV, on the radio.
Well,
Radio. You bought a 1-hour radio time to promote your business, your program.
Couple thousand.
no, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Now does he have to create the audience he's talking to?
No, it's already there.
He doesn't even have to be in the same city as her. I'm sure he wasn't. He didn't have to be on the same continent as her. I'm not sure that he wasn't in Hawaii and she was in Denver. Didn't matter. They were just having a phone conversation anyways. But she's established. I think I don't know how much of a listening audience she has, but the fact is that it was amazing. It was amazing to listen to him and his answers and how he won her over and brought her, totally engaged her, called her by her name. By the way, is calling people by their name important?
Yes.
Yeah, he called her by her name at the right time. He chuckled, I'd say about every 2 to 3 minutes at a minimum. Do you think it's important to figure out when it's good to just throw a little chuckle in there?
Yes.
Do you think so? Do you think he was just an absolute master at what he did?
Absolutely.
Man, I want to play it again. And for me to invest another hour just analyzing and seeing exactly what he did. And you know what? Everything he said in that 1 hour, if you've seen Harv once, you've heard it all.
He's a simple man.
He just knows his stuff, and it's like turning on a tape recorder. And you could put him, you could say, start at 22 minutes and 23 seconds. He could start right there, go right ahead. Okay, let's flip over to this 3 minute 42 seconds into it. He could start right there. It doesn't matter where you would put him in the program. He said, start here. Because do you think he knows his material? Do you think he's practiced?
Absolutely.
He's got 20 years in this business. How many hours do you think he's put into this?
But a lot.
Between practicing and being on the stage and being on the radio and being on television, how many hours do you think he's done it? You think he could do it in his sleep?
Yeah.
Better than most people could do it in their wildest dreams. He could do it that way in his sleep. Yes, go ahead.
But the important part of that is he found what worked and didn't deviate from
He
it.
didn't deviate. Absolutely. You bet. And he did the same darn thing over again. What did he do with his first $1 million business? He created a system, he duplicated the system into a franchise, and then he sold the franchise, right? What did he do with Peak Potential Training? He developed a system, right? He duplicated himself so that he could have his programs going on all over the place at the same time, right? Otherwise, he couldn't do it all by himself. And now he's sold the business, and over the next few years, he'll go from being at the front of the stage, and he'll just start moving back a little bit more, and other people will be replacing him. And in a few years, now Peak Potentials is without Harvecker anymore, unless he chooses to. I mean, he still loves to do that stuff, so he'll probably still stay involved. But now he's free to do whatever the heck he wants. Does he have a residual income for the rest of his life from Peak Potentials training?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're darn right he does. No question about it. Is Harvey that like with? He can do whatever the heck he wants. He just did the same thing over and over again. He found something that worked. Is it important to find something that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, find something that works, right? He got results.
Yeah.
And then he figured out how to duplicate it so he could deliver. What's the word?
Deliver.
Yeah, on a massive amount of quantity, right, to the marketplace. And because of it, greetings. And because of it,
Because of it, really?
and because of it, look where he is today, right? Look where he is today. Look at the results he got. Okay, the results he got are exactly, what's the word?
Exactly.
Because of the programming that we're talking about right now. You understand this? Do you guys get this?
Yes.
The results he gets consistently is because he's programmed to get what kind of results?
The results you're getting.
Great results.
Great results. Now here's the thing. Remember I said I want you guys to come with a warrior attitude?
Yeah.
And no wimps, right?
No
Okay,
wimps.
there's also something called a wizard attitude. And nobody talks about wizard, or hardly anybody ever talks about wizard, but there's kind of like a progression in the training. And after you learn how to become a warrior, so that when that little voice is telling you, you're not good enough, or people won't take you seriously, or whatever the darn excuse is that stops you from being the most fantastic person you're capable of becoming, and you're buying that story every day because you're a frickin' wimp. I hate to say that, but it's true. It is.
Nothing but warriors.
That's the only thing that's stopping every single one of you from exploding your success, is you buy that little voice inside of you. That's the only thing stopping it. And then when you do wizard training, after you've been through warrior training, and you stop listening to that little voice anymore, and you say, thank you for sharing. What are the words?
Thank
Thank you for
Say
sharing.
it again, please.
Thank you for sharing.
How many times during the day do you need to say that now?
20 million.
All the time. All the time. Right? Once you get to that point in your evolution, raise your hand if you want to reach that point, so that you know when to say thank you for sharing, and you don't let it stop you anymore. That's going to be a major breakthrough for you guys. So you have to understand how critical this stuff is, right? So how many agree this is important, right? All right. So we want to change our programming. I want to get into the wealth file real quickly because I want to make sure we have enough time to do it. So wealth file 11. And I'm just going to jump into it at this point. We'll keep going back to this programming part of it right now, because at the end of the day, what do we want to program ourselves to get?
Results.
Results, right? Raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. Consider yourself an entrepreneur. Okay, so who can give me a good definition of an entrepreneur?
Someone who makes their own phone.
Vince.
Somebody that gets paid for solving problems.
Thank you.
Not a problem. No.
Exactly. Thank you. Linda is, she's my best student. She's my best student, no question.
Can I
So
be
I'm-
second best?
Absolutely, Liz, absolutely. So an entrepreneur is nothing more than a person who solves problems for people at a
Profit.
profit. What's the word?
Profit.
What's the word?
Profit.
One more time, please.
Profit.
Okay. So raise your hand if you think it's okay for you to be able to create a profit when you solve a problem for someone. If it's okay, if emotionally you don't feel you have a problem with earning a profit when you solve a problem. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, it's okay to be worried for that, right? We
Yes.
talked to Wellfall about becoming an excellent receiver, right?
Yes.
Right? You're worthy of receiving when you deliver. True or true?
True.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so an entrepreneur is nothing more than a problem solver. What are we?
problem solver.
What are we?
Problem
solver.
Yeah, people say to me, Jeff, how do I make a lot more money?
Solve more problems.
Well, first of all, the only person I'm aware of that makes money is the U.S. Mint. You don't make money, you
Earn.
what do you do?
Earn.
What do you do?
Earn it.
Yeah, you earn money. You don't make money. Not unless you're the U.S. Mint. True, true.
True.
Right? Okay. So if you're gonna earn your money, then you need to solve problems for people at a
Profit.
You guys get this?
Yes.
Okay, for you to earn money. Look, you know, when I was leaving my house this morning, there was a guy, a tree company. They were trimming the palm trees from the house across the street from me. Now, do you think they're getting paid to do this, or do you think they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart?
No.
They're getting paid. Because the person who owns that house says it's important enough for me to pay somebody to get that done. True or true?
True.
Okay. Okay. So is the tree trimmer solving that guy's problem?
Yes.
At a profit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now the thing is, you can solve a few problems for a few people, and what kind of financial results are you gonna get?
Not dollars, you dollars.
Unless like they're billionaires, you know, and you solve a few billionaire problems and make $1 million for each one you solve, then you don't need to do a lot, right? That's good. But for the most part, we want to focus on getting financial results. True or true?
True.
Right. We're talking about a millionaire mind here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Secrets of the millionaire mind. Now, could there be a book called Secrets to the Relationship Mind?
I like that.
Yeah. Is there? Could there be a secrets to the health and wellness mind? You know, could there?
See, there's a series for you.
Sure.
Oh,
But
it's like the
right? Because isn't it true that we have programming in all those different areas?
Yes.
Yes.
We have programming in our relationships with our people. We have programming in our communications. We have programming in the way we exercise, or don't. We have programming in how well we eat, or don't. Right? Don't we have programming in all? Aren't there secrets to all those different things?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm not talking about all those different things. I'm talking about mastering the inner game of what?
Wealth.
Financial wealth, the real money, the real deal. You guys want to learn about health and wellness and the other stuff? Great. Is that important too? Raise your hand if you think that's important.
Yes, it is.
But that's not me. That's not why you're coming here. You're coming here because I want to talk to you about creating the right mind. What kind of mind?
The right mind.
Yeah, it's called a millionaire mind, right? So that you win the inner game of
Wealth.
Okay, raise your hand if you think wealth is important. Raise your hand if you want wealth in your life. Raise your hand if you want wealth sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. We're here so that you get those kinds of results. So, what question did I ask you? Write down the questions I asked you. I asked you a few questions. I said, how many of you want wealth in your life? Write it down. Right, I want wealth in my life.
Okay.
Please, write it down. I want wealth in my life. You only write it if you really want it. And wealth is different things to different people. Okay? And if you want it, then the question is, do you want it sooner rather than later?
Yes.
Okay? So the question is, do I want wealth sooner or later?
I want to go sooner.
Sooner.
Yes. No.
Now. Okay. Well, you know what? Until you change your beliefs, what's the word?
Beliefs.
You will never change your results. Your beliefs drive everything. And your beliefs come from your
Programming.
So now let me ask you guys something. This is the most important question. Write this down. Is it possible to change your beliefs?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it possible to change your beliefs quickly?
Yes.
Yes.
A belief is only a thought you keep thinking over and over.
Okay. And you guys have heard me. Thank you. I agree with you. So let me give an example. You guys have heard me say it before. Suppose I'm having a conversation with Linda, and I say to Linda, I said, you know, I really like Jason Nast. I think Jason Nast is one of the nicest guys I know. And Linda says to me, I'm surprised to hear you say that. You know, Jason Nash just goes around bad mouthing you to everybody. Right? He just doesn't have a nice thing to say. I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
He knows I don't do that too.
And I said, really? I can't believe that. I call up Vince. I say, hey Vince, you know, let me ask you something. I really like Jason Nash. What do you think about Jason?
I'm
He said,
surprised.
I'm surprised that you would think that about Jason. You know, I thought Jason really liked me. Wow, man. Have I just changed my beliefs about what Jason, my relationship with Jason and what he
Yeah.
thinks?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, have I?
Yeah.
Because what's happened?
New facts.
New
New
information.
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 New information.
What is it?
New information.
What is it?
New information.
New programming.
New information. Now you guys
And it's
have
not
new.
necessarily even accurate information.
It may not be, but it's new information. Obviously, the more accurate, the better. Go ahead.
It actually happens. I was at a mastermind group and went terrific as far as I was concerned. And I heard later, you know, oh, that Jason just kind of took over and all was bad kind of rumbling. But I heard it like third
And I didn't mean it in any negative way. Because I love you, Jason.
I heard it.
You know I love you,
I
man.
heard it third party. And what I said to the third party is, you know what, thank you for sharing, I appreciate that. And then I went back and I talked to the people who theoretically said that.
Yeah.
And what actually they said was, when the leader of the mastermind, he left the room. And they said that Jason Nash, wow, it was really cool, he stepped up and actually kind of took over, you know, when Craig left. And I was like, it was Craig Duswald's thing.
Yeah.
And so it was a totally different interpretation, but it was the thank you for sharing and going right to the source to
Yep.
find out the story.
Yeah,
And that's-
accurate thinking, boy, Linda, you're absolutely right. That's what Napoleon Hill says, you know, and that brings into a couple of things. Number one is don't take anything personally. That is an agreement in this book. When you learn never to take anything personally,
I know.
boy,
That
that
changes everything. That's
Yes.
such a game changer.
it
Just to
is.
not
When
That's
you
my
don't
program
take
right
anything
there. That's
personally
my
anymore,
programming.
which means that you can ask anybody anything.
And you're free.
You're free to ask and you're free to say yes to anybody, and you're also free to say hello. Can I have everybody up here? Thank you. What was that?
No.
Yeah. When you have that freedom, that you don't take anything personally anymore, raise your hand if you'd like that freedom. When you have that freedom, that you understand that how anybody else is responding to you is all about their programming
Yes.
and their issues,
Yes.
you begin to look at life through different lenses. And you change your...
Programming.
Okay, so here's the thing. I honestly want to see every single one of you within the next 3 to 5 years blossom. What's the word?
Blossom.
Blossom into the incredible, unbelievable, outstanding, fantastic people that every single one of you are. You just haven't manifested it yet. And that's what Wizard is all about, Wizard training. Once you become the warrior, so the first thing you got to do is you have to have the mindset of a warrior, right? No wimps. No wimps. But once you know when to say to that little voice, what's the words?
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. What are the 4 words?
Thank you for sharing.
And you learn that you take the action regardless. Now you're ready to move on to wizard training. And with wizard training, it's how to manifest, what's the word?
Manifest.
Your dreams and your hopes and your wishes into reality. When there's all this chaos going on all around you all the time. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
How can you maintain your saneness, your consciousness? How can you constantly stay in touch with your higher self? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When there's all this chaos that's coming at you from every conceivable direction, consciously and unconsciously. And once you have that warrior attitude, when you can blend in the wizard, so that you can manifest this into this, you win. But you have to have both. What's the word?
Both.
Both.
You have to have the warrior and you have to have the.
Wisdom.
Now, unfortunately, you guys, how many of you been to Warrior and Wizard? We'll get back to it. How many of you guys have been to Warrior and Wizard? Any of them? Haven't? So, you know, but it's good to be aware. What's the word?
Aware.
That these are the things that a man like Harv, who has been diving deep into the mind and what makes successful people successful, and he says these are the kinds of trainings that transform people from average people living average lives to taking average people and allowing them to live extraordinary lives. Raise your hand if you'd like to live extraordinary lives. That's what I want for all you guys. That's what I want for you guys. I want for you guys to live an extraordinary life. So, you know, again, I'm going. Since I just finished reading this book, when we were talking about what you were talking about, when you don't take it personally, it does. When you don't take it personally, and when you are clear, what's the word?
Clear.
On what you want to do. Okay, so an entrepreneur is a person who solves lots of problems for lots of people at a profit. At least a successful entrepreneur. True or true? How many of you guys want to become a successful entrepreneur? So you need to be programmed. What's the word? Programmed to the results are that you want to deliver massive value, right? If you deliver massive value, what will the results be? Massive results, right? Your massive results, massive amounts of money. That's what we want to accomplish sooner rather than later. True or true?
True.
So that's why we're here. We're talking about this. So we want to be paid based on our
Results.
Right now, do you think that's how most people are programmed?
No.
No way at all. Absolutely not. In fact, I guarantee you virtually nobody in this room and nobody you know is programmed to be paid based on results. We've all been paid based on the story we talked about at the beginning. Go to school, get good grades, get a good degree, get a good job, right?
Right.
Isn't that what we were all raised? Who said go out there and earn passive income? Who were raised that way? You were?
No, but I think you said that.
That's right, I did. And you know what? I'll tell you something. Like we have Marshall. How many of you guys know Tom and Sue Haven?
Yeah.
Right? Marshall's a year old. I tell Marshall all the time. Passive income, buddy. Passive income. Yeah, high five, buddy. Passive income. By the time he's 3 years old, he may not exactly know what it is, but he's going to be saying it. Now, suppose from the time your programming began, somebody had told you passive income, passive income, passive income, passive income, and you heard that all the time. How's that going to change your programming? But what is everybody's programming that you meet all day long every day?
Jobs.
Go ahead.
It might be in the ass though. Because my daughter, I've done that her whole life.
Yeah.
You can do anything, you're gonna be brilliant, blah 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 blah. She got a full ride scholarship to ASU and she turned it down because she wants to start her own business.
All right.
But I'm sitting there thinking, wow,
I'll
full
tell you.
ride, Ron.
But here's my thing, guys. By the way, I bought into this story.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. To a certain extent, I was blessed. In Ontario, we had eight grades of grade school. And then we didn't have 4 years of high school. We had 5 years of high school. And after the 5th year, if you went to a Canadian university, generally to get a degree only took 3 years. Because the 5th year of high school was kind of like everybody's public education kind of included the first year of college. Right? Unless when you went to college, so if you wanted to get a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Business, it was a 3-year degree. Unless you wanted to get what was called an honors Bachelor of Arts or an honors Bachelor of Commerce, which is what I got, which was another 4 years. So I had 5 years of high school and then 4 years of college. And after my 4 years of college, I worked for Xerox for a year and spent another 3 years in college back here at ASU getting my MBA and passing all those accounting courses so I could sit for my CPA exams. So I totally bought into this story, hook, line, and sinker, okay? And I'm working for a big public accounting firm thinking, you know what, eventually I'm gonna get into a business of my own. But then when a company comes to you, a Fortune 500 company, and they say, I'll quadruple your salary, come and work with us. I'll give you the senior position, stock options, bonuses, whatever, yeah.
But what you didn't say is while you were going to graduate school, you were buying property.
Well, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I'm telling you guys something. I wanted to become financially free as quickly as possible. It took me 23 years, but I did. And I'm saying I want all of you guys, if you have, look, there are certain things I can do and certain things I can't do. And I can't put the desire in you if you don't already have it. If you don't really want success bad enough to do what it takes every day, you're not going to have it. If you're not hungry for it, you're not going to get it. Because comfortable is too much of a rut to get into, and most people are just too comfortable to be willing to do something about it. That's the problem. Unless, so there are certain things I can't do. Is I can't motivate you. If you aren't a self-motivated person, you'll come here for 90 minutes and have a lot of fun, and then you'll go back to your regular life, and next week you'll come for another 90 minutes and have a lot of fun and go back to your regular life, and nothing will, we won't ever see this, which is what we want. Isn't that what we want? Right? So I can't find, if you're not a coachable person, if you rebel against everything you hear, you're going to have a tough time being successful. But if you have the desire, if you really have the desire, you really, honestly and truly, in your heart and your soul, want to be financially free in 3 to 5 years, and you give yourself that time. Because as much as we want it today, sometimes it happens faster. But the fact is, for most people, it does take 3 to 5 years, because it's not that straight line. It's that real squiggly all over the place line that you guys have seen to success. How many agree with that? It is. It's very rarely just a straight line from here to success. Every once in a while, if we're lucky and we have the right mentors and we do the right things, there's not too many squiggles on the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But no matter who your mentor is, you think everything Harv Eker tries succeeds?
No. And another thing is most people do not follow the systems that they're given verbatim.
They don't. They don't. Look, I'm so glad you said that, because how many of you guys have ever been to a Millionaire Mind Intensive? Raise your hand if you've been to one. Okay. So at the Millionaire Mind Intensive, you are taught a system. What's the word?
System.
What's the word?
System.
For managing your money.
Yeah.
A proven system that works. Now, one of the things we know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that self-made millionaires, so if you guys are going to make it, what's the likelihood if you make it, you're going to be self-made?
100%.
100%. Okay. So would you like to know the secret that all self-made millionaires have in common?
Yes.
Yes.
They all have a system for managing their
Money.
They all have a system for managing their what?
Money.
And it's a very specific system, isn't it?
Yes.
With very specific jars for very specific intentions, right?
Yes.
Okay, one real quickly, and then we're going to get back into this. The first jar is the financial freedom account, right?
Right.
Okay, and the financial freedom account is so that you're putting money aside each month to create what kind of income streams?
Passive.
What kind?
Passive.
Passive income streams. You are, no matter how much or how little you are making, every single paycheck, you're going to take a percentage of that paycheck. If you're making more, you put more in. If you're making less, you put less in. But you put that into your financial freedom account so that you are creating what kind of income stream?
Passive.
Okay, now that's like first base, right? That's a responsibility. Now, who is responsible for making sure that money goes into that passive income account?
Me.
You are. Who's also responsible for making sure that that money is creating passive income streams?
I am.
Okay, who are you reporting to?
Me.
Okay, so you're going to report to yourself each week on how you're doing in creating passive income streams, aren't you?
This is called great controls, right?
Right? Absolutely. Or it's called all the more reason to have a coach,
Yes.
isn't it? Right? Because on your own, how many of you have learned this? But how many of you are doing it? Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Your success in everything is not going to be based on haphazard. Your success in everything is going to be based on systems. What's the word?
Systems.
There's the right way to do things, and then there's a million wrong ways to do things, and there's probably an even better right way than the way you know right now. And you need to develop a system. And one of the reasons that you guys aren't seeing all the success you want financially is because you've learned a system for managing your money, and you're not holding yourself accountable for it. Harv uses the analogy of baseball. If you had a baseball team and when they take the field, they all run up and stand on third base, what's the chances you're going to win the game?
0.
0. You got everybody standing on third base. They hit the ball anywhere. Don't you need to have a first baseman? A second baseman? A left fielder? A right fielder? Each one has their own duties and responsibilities. True or true?
True.
Okay. Right now, all of you, with probably the exception of maybe one, I don't know, you're all playing your money game from third base. You need money for your expenses? Third base. You need money for a seminar? Third base. You need money for an investment? Third base. It's all coming out of one account called
Third base.
yeah. Right. And then what I'm saying to you is, no, you've been taught that system doesn't. How's it working for you guys so far?
Not good.
How's it working?
Not good.
It's not working very well at all, is it? No. Because you have to have a first baseman. And the first baseman has responsibilities and is held accountable for certain responsibilities, right? Right?
Yes.
Right? The first baseman is responsible for managing, positioning, and taking care of everything that a first baseman needs to do, right?
Right.
Right? And if the first baseman does it wrong, is he held accountable for it?
Yes.
Okay, so you know 10% of your money is supposed to be going into this account to create what kind of income streams?
Passive.
If you have money going into that account every month, and you're held accountable to account for what am I doing with that money to create passive income streams, are you going to be thinking about creating passive income streams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's a responsibility, isn't it? You're being held accountable for it, aren't you?
Yes.
Same thing with your play jar, isn't it? Who's responsible for putting that 10% in your play jar?
I am.
Yeah. Who's responsible for making sure that whatever that play jar's money is to be used for is used properly? Who's holding you accountable to make sure that you use your play jar? You are. No. You know what? A lot of people don't have enough self-discipline to hold themselves accountable. But that money management system, you will not earn more money until you prove to the universe that you can handle the money you currently have. None of you guys have done it yet. Not one. Not one. You're saying to me, Jeff, do you really mean I actually have to open up a financial freedom account, and I actually have to open up a long-term savings for spending account, and I actually have to open up an education account, and I actually have to budget money every month out of my income for books or tapes or CDs or seminars or mentors or coaches? You mean I actually have to do that? I actually have to budget my expenses each month? I have to do all that? I have to open up all those different accounts? You know what I'm saying? Yeah! You do! We're not going to pretend you have all those different accounts and no, are you living in a pretend world or a real world? Which means you take real actions, right? So Harv teaches an easy and amazing money management system. And he says, you don't have to do it exactly to my ratios. You do it according to what your life allows you to do. But until you can learn how to manage your money, until you can prove to the universe that you can manage the money you currently have, you can ask for all you want. Guess what? You're not going to get it. Or if you get it, you know what's going to happen to it? You're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. So anyways, we were all conditioned as a society that the old ways of thinking, go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get all that kind of good stuff, get a good job, be loyal and faithful to the company, and you're going to retire nicely. Right? How many of you guys have heard that story? Right? We've all heard that story. And that's BS. He says, poor people prefer to be paid a steady salary or hourly wage. They need the security of knowing that exactly the same amount of money is coming in at exactly the same time, month in, month out. What they don't realize is that this security comes at a price. The cost is wealth. What is Harv saying? There's a price, isn't there, for that security? Isn't there? Man, what you're willing to give up just in order to get by? Because what does job stand for?
Just overall.
You know,
Hospice.
I'm gonna tell you guys something right now. I want you to take this to heart. Raise your hand if you say, I'll take this to heart.
I'll
take
take
this
this
to
to
heart.
heart. I'll take this to heart.
What you're willing to settle for is exactly what's okay. If you're willing to settle for total mediocrity, you know exactly what you're gonna get?
Mediocrity.
What you're willing to settle for is what you will get. That's it. That's it. If you don't set your bar high, the chances of you ever achieving the kind of success you want, which means that what does your programming have to be? You need to set your bar where?
Hi.
High. And the great news is, no matter how high it is, when you get there, it can always be set.
Higher.
It sure can. It never gets dull. It never gets boring. And you know what? As you get higher and higher and higher and higher up, the views get better and better and better and better and better. True?
Good.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He says here, he says, living based in security is living based in fear. That little voice inside of you. That's all it is. What you're actually saying is, I'm afraid I won't be able to earn enough based on my performance, so I'll settle for earning just enough to survive or be comfortable. Now this next paragraph, I'm going to read it and then we're gonna go over it and think of it from a different point of view. He says, rich people prefer to get paid based on the results they produce, if not totally, then at least partially. What's their programming, rich people? They are programmed to be paid based on the results. That's their programming. Not, I work for 40 hours, you pay me X amount of dollars. That's not how rich people think. That's not how they think. It says, rich people usually own their own businesses in some form. Raise your hand if you're in business. If you're not in business, you definitely need to get into business. No question about it. We can talk about that another time. They make their income from their profits, right? They're entrepreneurs. They deliver value, and in return for delivering their value, they receive profits. Isn't that how we want to do it?
Yeah.
Deliver our value and receive our profits? Sure, absolutely. Rich people work on commission or percentage of revenue. Rich people choose stock options and profit sharing in lieu of higher salaries. Notice there are no guarantees with any of the above. As stated earlier, in the financial world, the rewards are usually proportionate to the risk. So raise your hand if you want to be a rich person. Okay, so wherever it says rich person, say I. Alright, so I prefer to get paid based on the results I produce. Raise your hand if you would prefer to get paid based on the results you produce. That's a new program, my friends. That's not your current programming for most all of you. It's not. Right now, you are so conditioned to get paid based on your hours of labor. And trading time for money will never get you rich. Ever. Never. It may be your passion, you can still do that, but if your goal is to create wealth, you better have some other strategies working for you at the same time. True or true? Right? So I'm not saying you don't do your passion. All I'm saying if you're in any kind of personal services type of business, forget it, man. You'll never ever get rich trading time for money. True or true?
True.
Right? Absolutely. Okay, so he says, I usually own my own business in some form. I make my income from my profits. From now on, that needs to be more and more your programming. Right? That needs to be your programming. He says, rich people believe in themselves. Do you believe in yourself?
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, you don't have to tell me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much confidence do you have yourself that if you take on a business challenge, you can succeed? And write down, business challenge. How good could I do on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 means you hit a home run. Somebody hands you a business challenge, man, you figure it out, you are awesome. You just know how to make business happen. A 0 meaning somebody hands you a business challenge, you're done. No sense talking about it. And so for you to have confidence in yourself, is such an important thing. Napoleon Hill talks about it all the time, doesn't he? Self-confidence. So
That
it's
was one
about
of the books I wrote down, Secrets of the Confident Mind.
the secrets of the confident mind. Look, you know, all of you guys, you will become wealthy. What's the word?
Wealthy.
As you become more self-confident. There's a direct correlation between your self-confidence and your wealth. Raise your hand if you believe that's true. Right? Because here's the thing. Your comfort zone is your money zone. And you will not grow out of your comfort zone until you have enough confidence in yourself. And as you grow your comfort zone, you also grow your money zone. And the universe abhors a vacuum. So if you've grown yourself to receive more money, you know what's going to happen?
You get more money.
It has to happen. It has to happen. And that's not going to happen until you increase your self-confidence. And your self-confidence comes from your programming. And it comes from surrounding yourself with the right people and getting the right knowledge on a consistent, everyday basis till you build that self-confidence to the point where you just know that you can handle it. Because when you know you can handle it, you're there. True or true?
True.
At that point, do you want to get paid based on hours or do you want to get paid based on
Results.
If you know you can produce results, isn't that how you want to get paid? If you know that you can learn how to produce massive results in the next 3 years, isn't that what you want?
Yes.
Isn't that what you want?
Yes.
Or do you want a job? Or do you want mediocrity? No. You want to get paid based on your results. Okay. So if you're gonna solve problems for other people, do you have to be really, really good at what you do?
Yes.
So if you want to earn a lot of money, here's what you need to do, guys. You need to get really, really good at what you do. And then learn how to monetize it. It's kind of like goes in that order. Right? First, get really good at solving a certain problem for people. That's rule number 1. Get really good at it. And that takes some time, doesn't it? To become really good, doesn't it?
Yes.
But once you get really good at solving other people's problems, then figure out how to package it and monetize it. Isn't that basically the formula?
Just that, yeah.
Do you think the Tony Robbins and the Blair Singers and the Robert Kiyosaki's and the Harv Eckers, you think it's an accident they got to where they are? You think they put in the time and the sweat and the energy and everything it took to get there?
Absolutely.
If they raised the bar of what was acceptable for them. What's acceptable for you? Is struggling year after year acceptable?
No.
Is learning and growing and becoming financially free what you want?
Yes.
Okay. So you have to be a results-oriented person from now on. It's not about putting in the time. It doesn't matter whether it takes 2 hours or 10 hours. It's about learning how to create this. Results and delivering results. That's what's important. Delivering results. When you become a results-oriented person, and you're good at solving your client's problem, whatever that niche is that you've chosen to become the go-to person, and once you learn to monetize it, that's it. That's a secret. That's a secret. So he says, rich people believe in themselves. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you don't get anything else out of this morning, you gotta look in the mirror every morning for 2 or 3 minutes and say, man, every day I am getting better. Every day I'm getting more courageous. Every day I'm getting more confident. Every day I'm getting funnier. Every day I'm growing into the person I know I can be. Every day. Now, are you saying you are? No, because the mind might say, what are you telling me this stuff? You're not any of that stuff, right? The mind, you can't fool the mind. Right? I'm rich. I'm fantastic. But if you say every day I'm growing, can your mind buy that?
Yes.
Every day I'm growing. Yes, go
You
ahead.
can say every day I'm in the process of getting rich.
I'm in the process. Yeah, absolutely. Can you look yourself in the mirror every day? Tell yourself that stuff. Every day I'm getting more inspired. Every day I'm getting wiser. Every day I'm doing my systems. Every day I'm growing. Every day, and that's indisputable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can your mind buy that?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you say, "Oh, I'm a multi-millionaire," no, you're not. Don't give me this BS.
Dollar.
What were you gonna say?
So you go to the dollar and then meals.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, he uses the example about, and I see this all the time. He gets this PR person, she's going to charge him $4,000 a month on retainer. He says, well, what am I going to get for my $4,000? She says, you'll get at least $20,000 worth of exposure. He says, well, you know, and Harvard said this, I can say the same thing. You see, in your business life, you will meet a lot of people who overpromise and underdeliver. It happens all the time. Don't expect, in fact, unfortunately, I don't like to be a cynic, but I've come to the point now, I don't believe what people say. I only believe what people do.
Yeah.
I watch what people do because everybody tells me how fantastic they are. And then when you pay them, and then you see what they deliver, and you find out that, well, you know, that wasn't so great. Right? So Harv said to her, he says, you know what? He says, I'll tell you what. He says, you know, if you're so confident that you're going to deliver $20,000 worth of value, from the $4,000, he says, you know, I'll tell you what. What I'd rather do is I'll pay you 50% of any business that's generated from your marketing efforts that I'm hiring you to do. That make sense?
Yeah.
So if we get $20,000 of business like you're predicting, you will make $4,000. You'll make
10.
yeah, and I'll gladly pay it to you. And what does she say?
No.
What does she say?
Smart. She said yes.
What does she say?
She probably says no.
She says no. Right? She says no. What do you think most people would say?
No.
Yeah, most people. That's it. Go ahead.
Well, I just got offered a deal like that and have to, you know, address it on Thursday, and I said the bottom line is, even if she does all this for me,
Yeah.
I still have to do the work.
Yeah.
If I don't do the work, I'm now out $1,500, and I still have, you know, don't have the results. So that's how it came down to me.
Yeah. So, you know, the thing is that if that's your programming, I do the work, I gotta get paid for it. If that's your programming, which is most people's programming, they will never be rich. Never. Never, ever, ever. It's never time for money. It's not. That's, you know, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed because when I was growing up, my dad passed away when I was a year old. And so I had my mom who owned a little clothing store, and she taught me two things from the time I was a little kid. You gotta work harder than everybody, and you gotta work smarter than everybody. Thank God for that conditioning for me. It served me well. I've always worked harder than most people I know, and I've always worked smarter than most people I know. And it's not an accident that I've gotten better results than most people I know. And that's the formula. You gotta work hard, and you have to work. Because I know a lot of people who've worked hard their whole lives. You know where they're at?
Nowhere.
It's not work hard, get rich. It's work hard, work smart, get rich. Most people don't do it smart. I don't want you guys to waste 1 minute of your life doing it the wrong way. There's a way. There's a way. That way is to program yourself from the very beginning to manifest the results you want. You want financial freedom in 3 to 5 years or sooner? You program yourself to make sure that you feel emotionally exactly how you want to feel, so you can take the
Action.
to get the
Results.
yeah, you want to be motivated by results. Results in your life. Financial results in your life. That create what kind of income streams?
Massive income.
And it's included in your money management system. So the more money you make, the more money you have to put into your financial freedom account. Isn't that true? And if you have a part of you that's responsible, that's accountable for making sure that those dollars are being used to be invested in what kind of income stream?
Passive.
Where attention goes,
Money.
energy flows, and results show. So if there's a part of you that's responsible for making sure that you're managing your financial freedom account, and maybe you need a coach to hold you accountable. Maybe you do. If you do, let me know.
Or me. What was that last one?
What did you say Friday about coach?
You need a coach.
I know, I said that.
You need a coach, right? I'm telling you guys, suppose, and we're gonna wrap this up here real quickly. Let's first of all, let's finish this wealth file. Here's an important rule. He says it and highlights it on page 125. Never have a what?
Ceiling.
Never have a ceiling on your income. Therefore, if you are paid by the hour or paid by the job or any personal services type situation where you're going to be paid a fixed amount for performing a specific service, you have a ceiling on your income. And so the smartest strategy you can do if you're in that situation is to create a second source of business or second source of income, right? Or getting others to do it. Or you have an FFA to build what kind of income streams?
Passive.
Yeah. How many of you guys think it's a good idea to have multiple streams of passive income? That's what your FFA account is all about, isn't it? And if you're responsible for it, who's responsible to make sure that they're learning about and focusing part of their time and part of their attention on creating passive income streams?
I am.
You are. How many of you are following the system? The system is right there. It's right there. Now, when you become a multimillionaire, you have to follow the system.
No, you can have.
And when you make your first million,
Still, you just change it a little.
you change it, right?
Yeah.
But my point is this: until you make your first million, if you just follow the system, it's right there. And how many of you agree that until you can prove to the universe that you can manage the money you currently have, that the universe will not give you more? Isn't that true? Attention here, please. Right? Isn't that true? So you don't ever have a ceiling on your income. Too many people are programmed to have a ceiling on their income, and then they wonder why their results suck. Isn't that true? I mean, it's so true. He says, if you're not going to be in a business for yourself, you need to be in some kind of a sales situation where there's no limit to how much commission you're going to earn. Then basically you're pretty much in business for yourself anyways. Isn't that true? Right? I mean, if you're in a sales situation where they don't have a ceiling on how much commissions you can earn, then for all intents and purposes, there's no ceiling on your income, is there? No? So that's an okay situation to be in. There are other things you can do as well, but certainly you want to be in a business. What's the word?
Business.
You want to be in a business of your own, and you want to be solving problems for people. And you want to become really good at whatever problem it is you solve for people. So real quickly, I want you to write down in one sentence, what is the problem you solve for people? What is the problem you solve for people? If you can't write down in one sentence, or maybe two, the problem that you solve for people, then you need to think about it. And there are lots, and once you learn this, trust me, when you go to networking events, it's going to make things a whole lot easier. You know, and there are lots of different ways. Once you know what that sentence is, you can present it. Like I might say something like this. You know, I'm meeting somebody in a networking event. I'm meeting Jason, and I ask Jason what he does, and Jason says, "Well, Jeff, what do you do?" And I say, "Well, Jason, do you ever know people that just aren't making enough money to get by, or have you ever met anybody that they just can't save enough money, or maybe somebody that their investments really suck?" Well, I help those kinds of people really take their financial lives to the very next level so they can live a really fantastic retirement sooner rather than later. That's what I do. So, you know, have you ever, so you present kind of like do you know anybody who might be in this particular situation? Well, here's what I do with those people so that they get this result. All right? But I'm very clear on what's the problem that I solve. for people who aren't making enough, or people who aren't saving enough, or people who aren't investing it the right way. I solve their problem for them, so that they can get retired sooner rather than later. What's your problem that you solve? What is it? Right? And once you learn the problem that you solve, I said, one of the things I want to do with this Jeff Fagan Money Machine Express is I want to be able to say, we show ordinary people how to live extraordinary lives. Is that a good one?
Yes.
Can anybody relate to that?
Yes.
Can you live an extraordinary life?
Yes.
Then you want to be part of the Money Machine Express, and that's what the heart and soul is all about. So, anyways, I want to finish this wealth file. He says he answered by what his dad had to say. God rest his dad's soul. Nice stuff. He says, in the end, the only way to earn what you're really worth is to get paid based on your results. Once again, my dad said it here. You'll never get rich working on straight salary for someone else. If you're going to get a job, make sure to get paid on percentage. Otherwise, go work for yourself. Now that's sage advice, and I'm telling you exactly the same thing. You go out there, you go be the warrior, you go be the wizard. You constantly work on, what's the word right here?
Programming.
You're programming. Because you know what? It is all about this word right here. Do you guys see this word right here?
Mind.
It's all about your mind. It's all about your mind. It always has been, it always will be. And we can talk about marketing, and we can talk about sales, and we can talk about real estate and the stock market and all that other kind of stuff. We can talk about all that stuff, and I will, because I know about all the business strategies too. But until your mind is set for high levels of success, results you truly want, all that other stuff to me isn't worth the time of day. It isn't. Not until you master the inner game of wealth. And it's about your mind. It's about your
Programming.
it's all about your programming. Because once you have the right programming, let me ask you something. If you are programmed for high levels of success, and 4 or 5 people come to you, and each one of them comes to you with a good business idea, what's the likelihood that you could choose 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe even all 5 of them, and whichever one you choose, chances are really good you're going to be successful with it?
Good, likely.
Because you're already programmed for success. You've already been working on your programming to become that great person. So when the opportunity comes, raise your hand if you believe the opportunities will come in your life. You can even enhance the likelihood that those opportunities will come in your life. Are you prepared? Are you? Are you preparing every day? Are you raising the bar on what's acceptable to you? Because remember, what you're willing to accept
Is what you'll get.
you're willing to accept mediocrity in your life. You know what you're going to get in your life?
Mediocrity.
As soon as you're willing to accept it, you got it. If you don't accept anything other than the best that life has to offer you, you won't get the best life has to offer you. Because you're willing to accept much less than that. Don't you want the best? Raise your hand if you want the best life has to offer you. And who knows if we get to come around for another turn around this place, right? Let's make sure this one is like one to remember, right?
Yeah.
Let's take our lives to our full potential, right?
Right.
And you do that by working on this and then following it all the way through to here. That's why I put it on the board every week. If you tattoo this to your brain, our programming leads to our
Thoughts.
and our thoughts lead to our
Feelings.
and our feelings lead to our
Actions.
and our actions lead to our
Results.
That's it, guys. Every week, I'll put this on the board, and you will see that everything we're talking about relates right back to this. Right back to it every time. All right. So we're right at the hour. Let's all come up together for the declaration, please. Okay, I'll say it first. Hand on your hearts, please. Okay, I'll say it first, then you guys repeat it. It says, I choose to get paid based on my results. All together.
I choose to get paid based on my results.
One more time, please.
I choose to get paid based on my results.
Turn to your neighbors, give them a high five, and say, you have a millionaire mind. Okay, now, real quickly. Next Wednesday we are thrilled and pleased and delighted to have Jason Nass to be our guest trainer. And Denise is going to be our well-fouled trainer. And who is our lead trainer?
I haven't heard back from Paul yet, so I don't know.
That is not good.
You know what? I'll say, I mean, if that's what it turns out to be, it'll be me.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I can handle it.
I haven't heard back from Paul. I sent him an email and copied you on it. So.
All right, I saw it. Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. Then if it's me, it's me. That's fine. I'm happy to do it. I haven't been a lead trainer in a while, so yeah, so give me a chance. Actually, a great opportunity for me to relate back to the group as well, because it's great to see you guys, but there's some people that come on to the summit that I only get to see at the summit, so that would be great. I really do sincerely hope that you guys are going to come to the summit, and that you're going to help us get more people to the summit, right? To the summit. One of the things that for me is, I'll raise your hand if you believe that part of your success is your ability to sell and promote. Yeah, that's an important thing. Now, sometimes it's going to be selling and promoting your stuff, and sometimes it might be selling and promoting other people's stuff. True. And there's this thing called reciprocity. If other people are helping you sell and promote your stuff, more than likely, if they can help you sell and promote your stuff, are they happy to reciprocate?
Yes.
It's a law. It's called the law of reciprocity, right? You do nice stuff for people, people will do generally nice stuff back for you. You give somebody a nice gift, they almost feel obligated that they owe you something in return for it. It's an unconscious law. In fact, during the first 90 seconds, that you meet somebody, there are ways to immediately apply the law of reciprocity in your first 90 seconds when you engage with somebody, and learn how to use these laws to make sure that you get people relating to you the way you want them to be relating to you. Is that important?
Yes.
Okay. So anyways, the thing, I really hope that you guys will practice, what's the word?
Practice.
Marketing and promoting the 2% Club Summit. Do you believe there's value in it?
Absolutely.
Do you think people can learn and grow from it?
Absolutely.
Is there a positive energy around it?
Absolutely.
Is it a great way to meet new people?
Absolutely.
Make new connections, make new contacts?
Absolutely.
So, if you believe that, then please,
Myself.
think of yourself as an ambassador of the 2% Club. And proudly.
Proud of it.
What's the word?
Proud of it.
Proud.
Share the 2% Club. Share what we do. Help us, and as you do that, you will not only be helping the 2% Club, but you will be honing your own sales and marketing and persuasion and presentation skills. True. Right?